this is Jen from Scrapping Posh, and I am here with the ASC Artistic Studio Creation Design Team project. We're going to do a tutorial for the Peter Pan album, but we're going to use the Winter Roses collection from Ciao. So this is a really cool collection. I'll show you what I'm starting with. I have a 9 by what they call this, the A4 size, and two 12 by 12, and then I have the 12 by 12 patterns, they call it, and then a 6 by 6. So we're not going to need all of this, but I picked it up just to have a little bit of variety, still sticking with the cute, super cute images here. So I'll probably go through and fussy cut some of these. I also have some fabric. We're going to use this red fabric with the silver for the cover, just like we did here, and then I'll pull out some embellishments from my stash. So this is a obviously cloth covered album, measures 6 by 8 by a 3-inch spine, and it has 12 pages, and we're going to use the stack the page method, which is my new favorite method. So that was just a sample. I'm going to keep this book by my side so I can use it for reference. And then we made this chunky dangle for the Peter Pan album, and we just may make a dangle for this one. So I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to start with some 52-point chipboard. And Crystal sells this at ASC Supplies. I buy it in packs of 25 because I make a lot of albums. And use Scrapping Posh 10 for 10% off when you are online. So I'm going to cut the 8-inch side first. And if you have a straight blade trimmer, you just cut one, flip it over, cut on the other, and it'll come off like that. The reason why I like a 6 by 8 album is because I can get the album, an entire album, out of one piece of chipboard. So there's our 6 by 8, and then we're going to cut this one down to 8. And then cut it down to 3. Okay, and that is our album cover. And we don't need this anymore. And then to determine how much material you need, you lay out your album and do a little measuring. Obviously this is 6 plus 3 plus 6, so that's 15.5 with the 1/4 inch between, and then you want to go 1 or 2 inches on top and bottom, so we want about 17 by 10. So I had them cut me a 1/2 yard. And if you get a 1/2 yard, it's going to be about 18 inches across here, so that's perfect. So it's 18 inches across here, and typically that fold is about in the right spot, so if you fold it in half and half again, so quarters. So, here we go. Oops. Okay, so pick your favorite fabric. That matches your album. And that's all you need to do. And you can even use this as part of your border here, as long as you make sure that your design starts before on the album. Plenty of room. So my favorite fabric, my favorite fabric glue is Fabri-Tac. Crystal also sells that. I will tell you though that if you're using a thinner cotton, it's going to bleed through. When it bleeds through, it will discolor the fabric a little bit, but if you don't know it's there, you don't really notice. So there's a seam up the middle of this, and you can iron it if you want to, but if you press it down, it will dry. Okay. It's been a while since I used my Fabri-Tac. So what you want to try and do is smooth it as much as possible to avoid big globs. And you want to make sure that the entire chipboard piece is covered and sticky, because if not, you'll end up with bubbles. Or your fabric won't stick. Okay, straighten it up. And lay it down. Okay, so now that we got all that done, I'm going to go ahead and cut the bottom piece here so that I don't have so much under my paper. Just a little bit off. And then we're going to miter the corners. I think I'll cut about an inch off either side too. You can see here where it came through, and there's just like one little spot on the front, so this will probably be the back. Not too bad. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the one long side. And if you glue a little bit too much, it's okay. If you go a little bit too high. And then you just pull up the fabric. And pull it tight. do the other long side. Definitely got a glob in here. There we go. Do the same for the bottom, or top, or whatever it ends up being. If you think you have too much fabric here, you can cut some more off. I'm just going to put a bead of glue under here in the corner and push down. I'm almost out of fabric tack. So push down on your dog ears. I got glue on my hands. And we're going to put corners on it, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But you can manipulate it so it is exactly the way you want it. So okay, we're going to do this side and then we're going to let it dry thoroughly. There's my cover. Once we put the paper on the outside, it should be fine. So I think this will be the back because there is some glue there, but after it dries, we'll be able to tell how much of it you can see. A little spot there, a little spot there. So we're just going to let it dry thoroughly, and then we'll work on the rest of the cover and the pages. Okay, so now that our cover is nice and dry, you see we do have some spots here of the glue that came through and it just discolored it a little bit, but I'm not worried about that. And I put a poll up on the ASC Facebook group of the color choice for the pages. My choices were cream, craft, black, white, and green, and the results were mixed. So I have white for my base pages. I think I'm going to do black for accents. And then there was a couple people that said use red and sage. And I don't have enough red or sage color for the entire book, but I do have these for like some accent colors or some mattes. So we'll set those off to the side. I also picked the images that I want on the front and back and side covers. and did the cutting that I need to do for those so that I don't accidentally use all of my stuff. Okay, so like I said before, we're mimicking this Peter Pan album, but in this Peter Pan album, I used 12-inch paper, and in this I'm going to use the 11-inch base pages, but our pages will just be an inch shorter. It's not a big deal, because I'm going to use the stack the page binding system, and I think you guys will really like this system. At least I do. I think it's a great system, and it doesn't take a lot of thinking, time, measuring, all that good stuff. But before we start, this is a 6x8 album, and I have cut some panels for the outside. These are, I think, 7 3/4. I got 2 that are 7 3/4 by about 5 1/2, and one that is 7 3/4 by 5 1/4. You can cut it 5 1/2 if you want. It doesn't matter, because that's going to go. It's going to lay between these. So first I'm going to put these on, and then this one's going to go in the middle. And there's no hinge system on this part because the pages are actually the hinge system. So I'm going to put adhesive all the way around. And I'm also going to add some Fabri-Tac around the outside. Got some stuff on my mat. This is what I'm going to be making the pages out of, 65-pound cardstock. This happens to be smooth cardstock, but I'll be making the pages out of textured cardstock, not because I like textured cardstock, because I really don't, but because I have an excess of it. Now, Crystal sells 65-pound cardstock in black, white, and cream in the store, and I make all my albums with 65-pound cardstock, so it's just what I prefer to use. So as long as you have a good stick on this. One here. I only have a few minutes and I have to go to work, but I wanted to get this started. And then I have a dentist appointment at 8:30, so I have to leave work, go to the dentist appointment. I really don't like dentist appointments, but it's just a checkup, and it's free, so I'm gonna go. Free meaning I pay for insurance, right? Free. I'm gonna go ahead and put some 1/4-inch score tape in here. Now, people sometimes use Tyvek in here. I'm not gonna use Tyvek because it's a cloth album. If you break a cloth album, then wow. Okay. But that'll give me a little extra adhesion. And doing this right now before work will allow the glue to dry on the outside there. Okay. And then on the inside, I'm going to go ahead and run some, let's see, let me put that on the side so I can score tape this. I should get my big score tape out, but it's all the way over there. And then again, I'm going to run the Fabri-Tac. Not too worried about the adhesion on the sides here because it's going to be covered up with the pattern paper anyways, but got all crazy right here. That's all the score tape you need for this cover. And remember, even though this isn't the hinge system, this still holds your hinge system on. It's just a barrier between the hinge system and the chipboard. So you do want it to be adhered well. Just the top and bottom where it hits the fabric. Crystal has Fabri-Tac in the store, and I prefer the 4-ounce bottles. I was using that bigger bottle before. It got pretty gelatinous towards the end. Very viscous or not very viscous, whatever. Alright, you just want to line these up the best you can. And then I like trying to push my paper into the creases. It will go down there. And that'll just prevent like a bubbling. And that's why we put the score tape in there, so that it sticks to the score tape instead of bubbling up. I would stick something in there and like run it along, but with the white album, I'm scared that we'll end up with marks that we don't want, because you will see these here. Okay, fold it. There we go. Nice. So most of the discoloration's on the front, but my main image on the front is pretty big, so I think I'm going to leave it this is the front, because the discoloration from the glue is on the bottom here, and I have a tag for the bottom. I also have a tag for a bottom here, so I believe the best suggestion for me is to do this for the front. So this is going to be covered up with pattern paper. The right front on there. Okay, so now I have some 8.5 by 11 paper that I cut down to 7.5, and all we have to do, this album's awesome because all we have to do is pick our page size and score the first score at the page size that we want, and then the hinge width. So since we have a 3-inch spine, the first hinge width is going to be 3, and then whatever you have left over on this side is going to be your smaller page. It's like just adds interest by having a varying size page, and I like flipping mine back and forth, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So yeah, we're going to start with I think we should start with a 5.5-inch page. So 5.5, we're going to score at 5.5 by 8.5, and then we'll have a small page to do this first pocket on.